I grew up in the city of Edmonton at the ripe old age of 29. We sold the business in the city and we moved out to the farm. We were successful business people in the city and we thought, hey, we've got all the answers. We know how to operate a business. I mean, we should be able to do real well at a farm. And unfortunately, no. In the purebred industry, it takes a long time to develop a client base and to have people actually come and seek out your genetics. And that was a struggle. If we sold breeding stock to somebody and they phoned us up and said, we're having a problem with the breeding stock, our immediate answer was, that's fine, just get rid of them and we will replace them for you at no cost. We'll make this right. I think that was one of the biggest things that moved our business forward, because we got a reputation as people who would take care of our clients. And my experience was that every time I brought an animal onto the farm, we usually had one problem or another. And I was looking at this artificial insemination and I thought, that's a great alternative. So we were one of the first seed stock producers in Alberta that went totally to artificial insemination for our genetic development. In Alberta, in Canada, the commercial producers that are there, that's the bread and butter of the genetics industry, and the icing on the cake is those international sales. When we actually sold out of the country, I think that's when it really started to dawn on me that, yeah, maybe we're going down a great road here. We sold a huge amount of breeding stock to Mexico. We sold a lot of genetics into the United States, basically into artificial insemination units there. Another one of our larger clients was Russia. Oh, China, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Guatemala, Honduras, some into Australia. Every continent in the world we've put some pigs on. Both my wife and my two sons found themselves working in the hog barn while Daddy was globetrotting all over the world promoting Canadian swine. So yeah, no, it couldn't have been done without them. And both of my boys after school would work in the barns and would help out with cleaning and maintenance. And yeah, no, it's definitely a family farm business. We received the Farmer of the Year award from the SPCA. And I think that was the first time that the SPCA actually awarded a hog farm the Farmer of the Year award. Big in 4-H for a long number of years. I went on and started doing consulting work for commercial producers on establishment of in-house nucleuses and other production parameters. I worked for Alberta Pork probably for about 6-7 years, and the ID and traceability, I did a lot of work on that, and also through the cost of production program that we had for about 6 years. I was the president of the Alberta Swine Breeders Association. I was the president of the Canadian Swine Breeders Association. I was a director on the Canadian National Livestock Records, and that's the organization that registers all purebred animals in Canada. Chairman of the Swine Advisory Committee to the Minister of Agriculture for Alberta. I was on the Artificial Insemination Board when the government owned it. One of the founding members of the Alberta Swine Genetics Corporation. You're in the purebred business, so you have to test the animals, so then you get involved with the Alberta government and the federal government. And then you want to sell your animals internationally, then you become a part of the National Swine Breeders Association or the Alberta Swine Breeders Association. It was part of developing your business and part of being part of the community. I think there's one individual I have to say thanks to, and that individual was a mentor to me, later became a very close friend. He's passed away. That's a fellow by the name of George Matika. He was an inspiration to me. We really have to hold our heads up, because I don't think there's a more noble occupation in the world than producing food for your fellow man. We actually do raise quite a different animal here in the province of Alberta. We have still an animal in Alberta that is a barley wheat finished animal. The pork is pinker, rosier in color. The fat is much whiter. The meat and the fat are both quite a bit firmer than the soya corn produced animal. 50 years ago, there was a smart fellow in the in Ag Canada that decided that Canadian pork should be leaner. He started down the road of assisting producers in leaning genetics, and it has paid huge dividends for our industry. It's a feather in the hat of the Alberta governments and the federal governments for the programs that they put in place for us to do genetic development. It's a measure of the purebred industry in Canada, and to the commercial producers in Canada who took those genetics and developed the pork that we are exporting from this province and the rest of Canada to basically all over the world. Pigs have been very good to me and my family. Very good.